Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Friends Podcast, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your first time, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. My name is Matt, and I'm here with my co-hosts.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jermayne.
And it's Rod, and this is the Friends Podcast. Make sure you check us out. We're streaming everywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our socials: YouTube Shorts, also the Instagram and TikTok at the Friends Pod.
All right, so let's get it started this week, man. So, what's going on with everybody? How's everybody's last week been?
The week's been cool. It's been busy. I've been planning a baby shower. One of my good friends is pregnant with twins. So that's next weekend. But this weekend, I actually went to a wedding last night. Actually,
Okay, that's cool.
That's what's up.
How was it?
it was cool. Wedding season is here. It's upon us. It's interesting because I was at a wedding at that same venue this time last year. And it just made me think about like what makes a wedding good as a guest. Like the wedding was beautiful. Don't get me wrong, there were some beautiful points, but the wedding last year, it was my cousin's wedding. Not only did they have an open bar, they had hookah. Like I had my own personal hookah at the table. Like it was on some next level stuff. So I'm curious for you guys, like what makes a wedding good to you as a guest? Rod, you look disgusted.
Yeah, I don't know about a hookah at a wedding. Like everybody buying them nice suits and dresses, and then you're just gonna have that nasty ass smoke all through the room. It just don't make any sense.
So they pulled it out like at the end of the wedding, more at like the party part where people were like on the dance floor and stuff. So it wasn't there like, we were having dinner and stuff like that. I thought it was dope though.
What flavor did they have?
Ooh, what flavor did I do? I don't remember, but you got to pick flavors. They had like a whole hookah vendor who came out who like, you know, could customize your flavors and whatever. I was like, this is pretty dope. I've never seen anything like that at a wedding before.
Definitely never seen it before.
That's your cousin, so I ain't gonna say too much about that.
No, say what you want to say.
Nah, you know what? I'm just gonna answer your question, which was your question was it was what makes a wedding enjoyable for a guest? I mean, open bar, as you said. I mean, that's really it though, to be honest. Like open bar. Everything past that is like I'm just here because I got invited. Oh, maybe good food too though.
Good food.
Yeah, you want a good restaurant vibe, like good food, drinks. That's about it.
Have y'all ever been to a wedding where like they served you? I can't remember. Like, do you go get your plate at a wedding, or like did they come and like bring you the food?
So they do both. I've been to both. Somewhere is, served, somewhere is buffet style. I feel like there are pros and cons to both, but the food is definitely key. I feel like for me, like the biggest thing that makes it really fun though is like the reason why I point out the hookah thing is I like a party atmosphere. Like, okay, I get it. You're about to do the vows. That's beautiful. Cry, cry. It's great. But like, especially if I don't, at most weddings, you don't know all the people. Like, the bride or the groom, maybe like one or two guests, but you don't really know all the people like that. So if you have good guests who want to party, people who want to dance, good music.
Yeah, definitely need a good DJ.
Oh yeah.
That's true too. That's true. Yeah, but like I said, food, drinks, I guess good people around to fraternize with. That's always good.
Yeah. Are you two the type to like try to pick up a chick at a wedding?
Nah, not for real. I mean, I've not. What's pick up though? Like pick up as in like, oh, like come back up to the room with me.
I
Like I'm not doing
mean,
that.
maybe not that extreme, but trying to make a love connection because I feel like women are very there are a lot of thirsty women at weddings.
Yeah, I mean, if the opportunity presented itself, of course. But I haven't been to many weddings. There probably only been like 3 in my lifetime, and they was all like my family. So
Yeah.
like that's just always just like not it. When trying to, you know
Get
what I
up
mean?
on somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like trying to do
yeah.
your thing. Like it's not necessarily like the best environment for that. But um, I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed. 'Cause everybody be feeling like lovey dovey and shit. She might have
Yeah.
caught the whatever, the bouquet and
Got the
shit.
bouquet.
It was
She's got
like,
a couple drinks with that open bar.
hey,
You
hey,
never know.
you don't know what's gonna happen. Was that what you was doing though? Like, cause you went to the wedding, was you like just trying to like scope out, the potential suitors?
Nah, it wasn't even like that for me. But I definitely peeped some women who were there, thirst on desperation level, on desert.
How you peep that? Like, what's this tall tale signs of that?
Ooh, there's levels to it.
Okay.
So I mean, here's my thing. If it's a wedding, like I'm thinking about it's gonna be somebody's family. Like there's a mom, there's a dad, there's grandparents here, there's people I don't know here. When you see women who come in like dressed like they're going to the club, like you got on like one well, I'm just gonna say because I don't know this girl. She may not ever listen to this, so whatever. But one girl was there and she had on like it was like a suit jacket. It was like a suit, but the top was like a normal blazer, and then the bottom was booty shorts. But it was all like a
Oh, she
suit
thought she was
material.
Janelle Monáe. Oh wow, like that's
It, it was professional executive on the top, and then like stripper shaking ass on the bottom. I was like, this is very interesting. Um,
I'd be interested to know who invited her.
Right.
I was like, where did you even find this at? Where can you find a suit that has booty shorts on the bottom? I'm like, this is
That outfit is disgusting and probably looks so. Let me not trash her, like, but like that's a terrible outfit.
and her
Long
body.
sleeves. Go ahead.
Yeah, her body looked great, but I was just like, nah, sis.
It reminds me of like the pull away NBA suits. Like she's just
Mm.
always
Yeah,
ready for the party.
basically, yep. It looked like she was gonna have some, long pants she would snap back on later for real. So for me, it's just stuff like that. Like when you come to a wedding and you aren't dressed appropriate for the wedding, that kind of makes me feel like, why are you dressed like this? Like this isn't the club. Um, and you just notice the women who like have a couple of drinks and then they're trying to scope out who the single men are. They're going out of their way to like, be seen by the single dudes. You can peep it. You can definitely peep. Hey, one night, I'm here one night only from out of town type vibe. Yeah.
No, I can feel that. Yeah, like shit. Like I'm about to get on this flight tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's
What's
shaking?
up?
Yeah. So no, I feel that. What's funny about that is so like at my company that I work at, we have a holiday party every year, and it's employees only. So like if it's spouses and stuff like that, like we can't bring our spouse, we can't bring our girlfriend, our brother, sister, mother,
Oh,
anything.
okay.
So I've never been, but I've just heard that some things that happen, between people that are not supposed to be doing things.
They have a
Um,
bar?
well, just yeah, oh yeah, yep, they got a bar. And so I remember one day I was walking out of work and this random girl, she just came up to me, she just started talking to me, and she was like, oh, you ever been at a holiday party? I was like, nah. She was like, well, I heard they be doing crazy shit. I'm gonna leave my nigga at home. I'm just looking for the niggas in the suits. I'm like,
Oh yeah, she told you that?
she told me that, and I'm
Woo!
You
like,
should have been like, I'm about to come in there in the suit.
I, I should have said that. I should have said that, but it caught me so off guard because it was just random. I'm just like, you just talking about cheating on your nigga with some nigga you don't even know.
She was
I guess she
plotting.
was plotting. No, I'm gonna have to find her tomorrow
Hmm.
when I go into work. But
Why haven't you been to one of these parties though?
I'm so antisocial. I don't really like big groups of people, and I don't know. I just be always scared like a mass shooting going to happen or some shit when there's like more than 500 people in the room. But I'm gonna have to go. And
Yeah, go this year and report back to us
oh, I will for sure.
in a suit.
In the soup for sure. Let's kind of parlay that into the first topic that we have today. So we're talking about weddings and stuff like that, what makes it enjoyable, but let's talk about the whole point of weddings is because two people are joined in holy matrimony and getting married. And I will say, what's the divorce rate? Probably like 50% in America.
Something like that.
And so I would say that some people, they
Let's
get
get the
married.
actual stat there.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it's like 47, 50%. Or it might be over 50 right now. Um but so I guess my question is, so many people get divorced, and it's like, it kind of begs the question, like, is marriage overrated? Is there even a reason to get married these days when like it's a 1 out of 2 chance that it may fail? So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like, how do y'all feel about the institution of marriage?
Okay, it says
37. Okay.
Also, people super exaggerate when they say it's 50%. Oh man, 37. It's a big difference.
Those who wed multiple times face a far higher rate of divorce. In fact, 67% of second marriages end, and 73% of third marriages are dissolved. So I guess
Mm,
if you get married
damn.
a second time, a third time, it goes up. But yeah, I don't know where that 50% came from.
it's probably
Um,
definitely going up.
what you think? Just for like first marriages?
No, it just shows like every year the number kind of increases,
Mm.
and yeah, I could just see the number just keep going up.
I mean, 37% is still a lot to me, though. I still think that's like 30 out
Yeah,
of
that's still a
100.
lot to me as well. That's about pretty much about 40% of everybody who get into a marriage is gonna divorce. Like that's pretty high chance.
Yeah, like it's really right there. Like, it's really a toss up. But so, like, how do y'all feel about the institution of marriage? Is it overrated?
When you hear numbers like that, I kind of think it's overrated. 40%, like again, that is a pretty high number. And then what comes with marriage? It's a business agreement. So when you get divorced or something like that, you always got to think about how your finances and everything is going to separate. And then if you have multiple marriages, multiple kids, you got to figure out how much money you got to give them after marriage until your kids and child support. It's a lot of money that's involved in marriage. So to say that 40% of Americans like they're going to go through that type of financial issue, um, that's pretty that's a negative thing because it takes years to come up from marriage. I would assume because like if y'all only had like one house and then the wife gets the house and then you got to go get like another house and then maybe start like another family, but you still got to pay for the kids. That's a lot of money being spent there.
Yeah, because it's not easy just to get a house. I'm sure, like, okay, if say you get married and boom, y'all was working for 5 years to get a house, or 3 years to get a house, like on two
Yeah, most
salaries.
likely you probably still gonna be making payments on it. Most people because they in like 20, 30 year mortgages.
Wait, how does that work? So if I got divorced and my wife got the house, do she have to make the payments? No, like, am I still obligated to make the payments? I would assume I'm not. But yeah. So say like y'all work to get a house, boom, y'all get divorced, she get the house. Now you got to work by yourself, or I don't know if you're gonna get married again, but to go get another house, like that's tough. Um, but even when I think about like if marriage is overrated or not, I don't even think about like it ending or anything. Like I don't really think about the divorce rate. I think about like what is it like. I think that I mean there's love in marriage, but it has to be more than love. You know what I mean? It has to be companionship. It has to be compatibility. It has to be building some sort of future together, having a plan to like get to where y'all want to get to, and you have to have like that same type of mentality around it. And I don't think that's necessarily overrated. I think that some of the ways that people look at it as a fairy tale, or something that's like all hunky dory and something that's not work, I feel like that's overrated because it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I'm not opposed to it. I'm just opposed to it in certain forms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel similarly. I don't really concern myself too much with the divorce rate because I feel like divorce is something you can control. Like in a marriage, I think one of the things that people sometimes underestimate when they look at stuff like the divorce rate is like you make the choice to divorce. You decide to get married, but also somebody has to choose to file for divorce. So I think it's important to me to marry somebody who you both believe like this is it. Like there's no out of this. Um there's no leaving. We're committed to this. Um Number one on the divorce part. And then to your point about it's marriage overrated, I agree with you, Matt. Like I think the principles of it still stand. Like having somebody that you're in a team with, having somebody that you're truly partnering with, where you're supporting each other, you respect each other, um, treat each other with honor. I think those principles are still really important. I think what's sad is that more people don't value some of those principles today in our generation. And that I think what we're going to start seeing is, my guess is that the divorce rate is actually going to go down, but you're going to see less people getting married, which is already kind of what we're seeing right now, right? Is like fewer people in our generation are getting married or really value marriage. Um, I actually saw this really interesting report where they were talking about how if you look at the rates of marriage for like, well, basically what they were saying is that in America, the rates of marriage really depend on different groups. So whether you're college educated, your race, etc. So for example, like white college educated women are getting married even more than getting married and staying married even more than their like mothers' generations. But rates for marriage for like black college educated women aren't particularly high, and they're not getting higher necessarily. And so it's really interesting uh, to see like what's going to happen to marriage long term. I think what you're going to end up seeing is that like unfortunately a smaller, more select group of people are going to get married, but that those people are going to really value marriage and stay married. I think longer.
That's interesting though, because I have heard that, and I feel like we have talked about this in on the podcast, way back. But white college educated women being married or staying married, and then black college educated women not having the same rate of marriage and success in that way. Did it give a reason why that is? Because I just don't understand. Like, can they just not find counterparts? That's just such a damning stat to hear. You know what I mean?
So it was a sociological study. So they didn't necessarily get into like a lot of the details around it. Um, one of the things that, of course, a lot of people go back to is like, oh, well, are there as many, black college educated men for these women to marry? But this study was just interesting. It was just like stating the facts, like not putting any sort of like reasons behind it. Um, so I don't know. I think it's a lot of things. I think like certain women don't value marriage as much, don't value partnership as much, don't feel like they need it as much because you have an education, you're able to have a professional career, you're able to afford yourself a certain lifestyle.
I mean, to point one though, when you were saying people don't normally get into marriage unless they in love and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I don't think no one really plans to get divorced in the beginning. So I think even like no one really plans on that to like for your first point because no one's thinking they're gonna get divorced. Everyone thinking their marriage is probably gonna last forever, and when they do their vows, um,
Well,
it just happens. Divorce.
but I don't think it's that it. I disagree. I don't think that it just happens though. Like, and the reason why I say that, so my grandparents, they've been married 50 plus years. My parents have been married 35 plus years. Great grandparents were married 60 something years. And like when you talk to people who've been married a long time, like shit happens. Like you go through some real shit. And I think a lot of people in our generation like have this attitude of like, oh, I'm married till I don't love you. Like I woke up today and I don't love you, so like I'm getting divorced. And they don't realize that, like you said, marriage is a business partnership. Like if we both got stake in this, like nigga, I'm not leaving you. I am not going anywhere. I don't care what happens. If as long as you aren't beating me, like I'm here. I'm committed to this and I'm going to commit to make it work. And I think a lot of people just don't have the attitude today.
I feel you on that, and it's just like people don't like speaking on what you were saying, like working through issues. I feel like people would rather just throw it away and just stop and just start over,
Yeah.
rather than just like, okay, let's work through. Why don't you like me anymore? Why are you not attracted to me anymore? Why are this, that,
Hmm.
and the third? And I think it just comes from. I feel like it might be our generation and younger than us, probably, just because we are so, we want instant gratification, things like that.
Also, I feel like you're used to it with the generational thing with your parents and your grandparents, so you actually get knowledge from them. Where I feel like not many people probably get that knowledge and talk to their parents or grandparents about what how a healthy relationship actually works. People are kind of just looking at TV and social media and trying to piece things together because their own family's really not together.
Yeah, I think Matt made a key point earlier with like a lot of people think that relationships are Disney movies. Like it's happily ever after, you get married, and that's like the end of this beautiful story. It's like, no, some days you don't like this person, some weeks and years you don't like this
Yours is
person.
crazy.
No, I mean, Michelle Obama, she was doing an interview and she said there was like a 10-year span she didn't like Barack.
10 years. She
Yeah,
might as well go up the road. Like what? 10 years?
but she loved him, right? Like that's the difference between like and love. Like she was saying that that was when they had first had their kids. And she's like, damn, we got young kids. I'm stuck at home with the kids all the time. And you want to go out golf? You want to go hang out? Like, nah, help me with these kids, you know? But she didn't leave then. It's like you realize like this is a point in time. This is a moment in our life together. This is not it. And I think so many people do that now. Like, it's even why I don't like the women who like chase men with money and are like, oh, I want to marry a high value man. It's like, okay, well, what happens when he doesn't have that money? What happens when he made six figures, but then he loses his job? Are you now going to leave him because he doesn't make six figures?
Yep.
And that's
Exactly.
that's why people get divorced, because you're marrying over stupid shit like that instead of like, hey, if you lose it all, I'm still here. Like I'm down for you 10 toes, whether you're like the vows say, richer for poor, in sickness and in health.
hmm Yeah, I'll be interested to see like that 37%. Like who, like what intentions did they go into the marriage with? Was it like, oh, I really like this person?
Seem like no loyalty.
No loyalty.
Yeah.
And if you look at like the reasons why people get divorced, you have to like when you file claim a reason. Most people get divorced for irreconcilable differences.
hmm
There's a big difference between adultery, abuse, and irreconcilable differences. Irreconcilable differences can literally just be like, I'm just sick of this nigga. I'm sick of him. Like I said, the financial situation changed. Oh, this hard thing happened and we can't work past it. Or, oh, he's a narcissist. Like all this stuff that is like, come on now.
Or they probably
Like,
got married or like before the honeymoon stage ended, and then it
yeah.
ended, and they was like, I don't really fuck with you like that. I'm trying to go with somebody else. So it's like, what's the intentions behind? Let's be intentional. And I think
Or
that
they get bored.
that too.
Yes. And to me, like, I think you got to know yourself. Like, if you're the type of person where you are like, I'm in it with this person while it's good, then don't get married. Like, be boyfriend, girlfriend, have a domestic partnership, live together. But I think it's fucked up to take the vows of for life if you don't mean for life. If you just mean like while things are good, while you make me happy.
Mm, damn, no, that's real. I'm just thinking about just past shit right now. This shit just got me thinking like, damn, like, because somebody's made a good point. I can't remember if it was you or Rod, but like, just being with somebody in the good and the bad is like that's one of the telltale signs that somebody not really for you when some bad shit happen or like you down bad or you feeling bad. Even like if you like it's down, like if you're sad or something and like they don't really support you
Hmm.
through that, that's somebody that you already know that like they can't.
It's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work because they like yeah, like cheer up or whatever the fuck. Like they're not really trying to help you through things.
Absolutely. One piece of advice my dad always gave me about relationships is like, you shouldn't get married to anybody that you haven't had a fight with, that you haven't gone through something with. Like, you need to see how you feel about that person when you're angry, when they're angry at you.
See, that's how I know. This is how I know I probably shouldn't get married because don't, if I feel a way about somebody, then like it's like get away from me forever. You know what I mean? That's how I know it's not. It's not. It's something I got to work through before I get married because I
But
can't.
see, you know yourself, you know?
This is true. This is true. This is true. But yeah, so I think that I mean, like I said before, I think to wrap it up, like marriage is cool when people go into it with the right intentions. and they get married for the right reasons, and otherwise it's like kind of overrated. I feel like it's pointless, just to get married, do all that paperwork, and then you got to do
Just
the
for a party.
yep, just for a party. That's another thing for the parents is like, oh, I'm gonna get married because this is who on paper I should be with. You know what I mean? But then it's not gonna work out because y'all don't really fuck with each other. Like it's a fairy tale. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so let's go ahead and get into this next topic that we got for you folks.
So I was reading this article about Elon Musk. Oh, and morally wrong. Pretty much, he's saying it. There's no reason why people in the office or corporate workers should be staying home versus service workers. So people who go in and be in the factories, or it could be plumbers.
Well, my first thought, reading through this article and stuff, is a direct quote from Mr. Musk here. It says it's like really you're gonna work from home and you're gonna make everyone else who made your car come work in the factory. That sparked something in my brain already because it's like, what is Elon Musk, the Tesla CEO? He talking about people making cars in the factories. Like, oh, you want people to keep working in the factory? So he really just, I feel like he says it's morally wrong, but I kind of feel like it's a business move where it's like, okay, people are going to start working from home. Then it's like, okay, they're not driving as much. So then people are not going to buy Teslas anymore because they don't even have anywhere to go. And that's kind of how I feel about it. But I just hate how he tried to veil it behind, oh, y'all just morally wrong for this shit, just trying to make people feel bad.
I think he raises an interesting point. Um, if you take a look at and go back to the early COVID days, right? When we were all working from home, people who could work from home, people had the luxury to work from home. You had a lot of people who were in blue collar jobs who didn't have the flexibility to do that. And so at the same point, like those were a lot of the people who were getting COVID and unfortunately dying from COVID. So if you think about like bus drivers, people who worked in manufacturing, people who worked at grocery stores, disproportionately, a lot of those were the people who were getting sick with COVID in those early days. Like I said, they passed away. And so from a certain point, I understand what he means about like, hey, there are people who like don't have the option to do this, and that puts them into they face a certain amount of harm because they don't get the option to work from home. Um, at the same time, though, it's like you're trying to accuse people who work corporate jobs and can work from home as basically being like elitist and feeling like they're above people in like the service class when you're a billionaire. Like you are the definition of elitist. If you are really worried about being morally right, wouldn't you be, paying your people more? Wouldn't you be, treating your workers with more respect? Like he's done a lot of stuff where it's like I'm not necessarily mad at the message, but I don't like the messenger.
hmm No, that's real. Because I've heard many stories about what they be doing over at Tesla. People getting mistreated and things like that. And of course, when he
Mm-hmm.
came into Twitter, like what he did, he took away the food option or some shit like that. When they,
Fired a bunch of people, and then now he's trying to scramble to rehire people back.
but you want to talk about morals, like yeah, like you said, the messenger is just like, why are you like, shut up talking to me? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Rod, how do you feel about that? Is Elon Musk just on the dot with what he's saying?
I don't feel like he's correct because if you get an education, you can kind of afford that luxury. Like you are trained. If you're trained to do a car, like you're pretty much saying, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I love to do. People like being in person and doing that work. But someone who's on a computer or something like that, you don't have to be in the office to do that work. You're educated not to be physically in the office. Like you can still do your job elsewhere. So it just doesn't make sense because certain people are educated in different things. So if I went to college and stuff like that for computer science or something, like you can make programs from home. You don't need to be in the office to do that.
You really don't. And it's like, yeah, it's like he's trying to punish people because then he went to college, right? Like, I guess for
He
a,
did.
I guess for a CEO, I guess you probably can't
I think
work
he
from
dropped
home.
out though.
He dropped out.
I think so.
Yeah, I think I did read that before. But is it like, are you trying to punish people because you can't work from home? Like, is it a selfish thing? Because CEOs probably can't. They
But
probably got to be there.
also, he
I'm
probably
sure he works
could
from
work from
home.
home. Yeah, that's the part where I'm like wrong messenger. Because I bet you he works from home.
He works in the office and at home, both probably. He has too
Hmm.
many companies, too much shit to do.
Hmm.
He can't always be in the office.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. It's a productivity issue, but it's also a moral issue. People should get off their goddamn moral high horse with this bullshit because they're asking everyone else to not work from home while they do. It's wrong.
And that one line though is where I kind of feel him is like you were saying, Rob, like certain jobs don't require you to work from home. And like we can all acknowledge that. I definitely though had coworkers at my previous company who kind of felt like they were elitist because they worked in tech, and like, well, I shouldn't have to be put at risk. It is dangerous for me to go out into the world right now because of COVID. There's a potential risk I could get COVID. And it's like, yeah, but you had somebody Instacart you deliveries. You had somebody who, is sending you packages from Amazon. You had somebody deliver your mail. Like these are all people who you feel like you're better than, and that they have to go out and be in the public and you don't. So that's where I feel him. I do think
Do they feel they're better than, or do they need those things to survive? Like you need your Instacarts to get the groceries. You need your mail.
It's both. I feel like it can be
Like
both.
it's part. Those are part of your livelihood. Like you need those things, but you still can't go to bars or go to social gatherings like everyone else during that time.
but these were people like that was what was funny is like these were people who, oh, I don't feel comfortable going into the office, but like you want to go out to eat and you're traveling. So it's not really that you like need these other services as necessities because you don't feel comfortable going out, but is I think we all just got to be honest. Like as somebody who has worked from home for the past couple of years, we like the flexibility. Like just say we like the flexibility. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think you got to make it a COVID thing, which I feel like a lot of people are still doing.
For sure.
And then on Elon's point, don't make it a moral issue. Just say like, yo, people are more productive in the office.
I think it's. I don't even think it's more productivity because I feel like the stats will still say the work is getting done even with people from home.
Hmm.
I think it's more of a control thing, like being able to have eyes on everything.
For sure.
Someone just being at home and they can do anything, and I feel like he just doesn't like that. He likes to physically see everything and know that workers are doing what they're supposed to do.
100%
Like,
agree. And there's that peer pressure to be more productive, right? 'Cause you make a good point about the stats. Like productivity didn't go down in COVID, but I think what goes down, at least for when I think about working from home during COVID, was if I wanted to like log off at 5, I have no reason to stay on, right? Like I feel like I'm done with my work, I can log off. But when you're in the office sometimes and you're getting ready to leave at 5 and you see all your coworkers are still there, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to be the first person to leave the office. So like, let me
what?
stay another
I'm
hour.
like, see ya.
I'm about to say shit.
I'm out exactly at the time. Like, all right, deuce. I'll be the first one. Like, I'll be sure. Like, if it's my time to go, I was here.
Hmm. I did my time. You can look at my time card to see I did my time. So like,
Yeah, the work is done. I'm out of here. See you tomorrow.
Okay, maybe that was just us. Maybe my just team, there's just a lot of peer pressure.
I was about to say I could see that being peer pressure, but like not that I don't care about things like that. But I could see like some people that are like, oh, I don't want to make appearances that I'm lazy or something. I get that.
Oh, this other topic that I thought was kind of similar, like having a routine and being in the office. Um, you start to get like a good routine, and I want to know if this is probably the most productive way of living is having a routine versus being more sporadic. And what I mean by sporadic, you can just going out and trying different things and different ways that you maybe sleep scheduling or way that you schedule your things to do during the week outside of your work schedule, just being more sporadic. I want to know which way do we think is more productive, either or.
I think for myself, at least, like I'm more productive when I have a routine, but life is more fun when I'm sporadic. Like I feel like I'm always like stuck between the two of like having too much routine and getting a lot of stuff accomplished and being like really far along on my goals, but then being like, damn, like I am bored, or I miss socializing or miss some of the just like spontaneity of life. It's hard trying to find that balance, to be honest.
No, it really is, and I think that being the most productive probably would be a routine because at this time I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna have this done at this time, and then I'm gonna start this at this time. Like this is probably the best, most productive way. But at the same time, that's just hard for me to follow a routine because I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna feel when I wake up that day. I might not feel like doing none of that shit. I might just feel like going to be in the bed all day, or I might just feel like going to the park or some shit, like driving around, bumping music or some shit. So routines are hard for me. And what's that saying? Like it takes like 30 days to build a good habit or something like that.
Something like that.
I don't know if I've ever had like a real routine other than like taking a shower, brushing my teeth. You know what I mean? That I've done for 30 days straight. I can't do that. It's just not. It's not giving. It's not giving. Like I can't think of the word, but it's just not. It's not for me. So, are you a routine person, Rod? Like, is you somebody that needs to stay on the schedule?
I feel like it's just easy to get burnt out. Like my Monday through Friday is pretty routine. Like it's work, getting off. Then I don't really have too much time. It's just gym, cooking some food, and then it's like restart for the next day. I think it's easy to get in a routine, but now I feel like I am getting to the point where it's like I got to the point where I'm like, man, I'm doing this all the time, burnt out. Like I need a vacation. I need to get out. I need to join some groups. I need to try to get around more people outside of work. Now I'm kind of feeling that way after doing the same thing for months to just kind of get myself associated in the new state. But now I'm feeling like, yeah, I should be a little bit more sporadic, get to meet some people out here and do something different.
But you can fit those things into your routine, all right? Like, obviously, Monday through Friday, you working, 9 to 5 or whatever. But it's like you could fit that into your routine, but it is kind of hard when you're working 40 hours a week.
I think it's like your effort as well. Like you got to put effort to do it.
Yeah.
Like just to break your routine, it takes like, because I don't know, you get lazy in doing what you do every day. And then when there's like an outing or something after work or a group of people wants to get together, you kind of, to me, I got to muster up the energy to be like, all right, like get myself together to go do that.
I think people underestimate like how much energy it takes to be sporadic once you've actually gotten in a good routine.
What you mean by that? Expand on that a little bit.
So, like, let's say, like, one of the things I've been working on lately is like getting up early. So, getting up every day at 5 so I can be at the gym before 6. But that means that I got to be in bed at 9:30. And so if I want to make a point of like randomly going to see a friend, going to get dinner with a friend, then I gotta make sure to do that earlier in the day. So I gotta be there at 7 and I gotta leave at 9 so I can be home at 9:30. So it's like you can still do those like kind of sporadic fun things in the moment, but like you also know like I'm still gonna have to, there's gonna be a give and take. That still means like I still have to plan to have this quote unquote sporadic moment. I still got to put energy into making this happen instead of just being like, all right, cool, fuck it. I'm about to go out tonight and not worry about what time I get in bed and then not get up early enough and throw the rest of the schedule off. If you want the rest of the schedule, you still have to be thoughtful about how you make some of those sporadic things happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Yeah.
like, hey, if I go out tonight, I can't drink too much because I got to do this tomorrow.
Even if you want to, I think it gets to a point where it's like you got to do what you have to do versus what you want to do.
Oof.
And that's one of those things where it's like, you would love to get together with your old friend and be out till 2 a.m. But it's like, I'm on this routine. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
then I think if that routine is helping you like get to where you need to go, I guess you got to follow that. But for me, I would straight up break that routine. I would break it because I'm not mentally strong enough to like just follow some shit. 'Cause I'm like a go with the flow, like
Yeah.
blown in the wind type of person. You know what I mean? But maybe I need to switch over to get into having a routine though.
So
Yeah.
you like a leaf, just blown in the wind.
Yeah, like what Katy Perry said. Like, have you ever felt like a plastic bag? Like, yeah, like I just be doing shit. Like whatever I be feeling, like it's just like this is what I feel today. You know. But oftentimes we probably shouldn't go based off of our feelings. We should go based off of what we need to do. You know, that's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Do you feel like that's a part of like growing up and maturing, or do you think that's just a personality thing?
I don't know what it is at this point. At this point, it might be
I don't know. There's too many immature adults. Now that I get older, I'm realizing maturity doesn't necessarily go with everyone.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
When you say that though, like what you mean by that, like in their choices and like kind of expand on that, like what you mean? Because I see it too.
That could be anything. That could be just like still. It could be partying all the time. It could be um, how they speak to people, conversation, things of that nature. It could be like that. It could be what they like to do, places they like to associate at. That could be another thing. Like I see, I'm gonna say randomly on my Instagram story, somebody from college. They're still going to the same bar in that around that college town. It's kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
really, and that's it's kind of weird to me. Like at this point,
You
or
hating like
I don't
that
know.
nigga
There's
just
there's a
having
bunch
a
of
good
different little
time,
things.
man. He just having a good time. You hating like what you hating for? No, I do feel you. Like, but is that
Cause it'd be
image
a bunch of college kids, and it's
right?
like a like a young place, and I'm like, what is this nigga doing? Like,
Is that
like
immaturity?
go go somewhere else. Like
Is that
you old as
immature?
hell.
Is that is that immaturity or is that like stuck in his ways? Or is it the same
Ooh,
thing? I don't know.
that's a good question.
Because maybe he just like I'm just used to this. Like
Comfortability,
you said, what
comfortability.
comfortability could be that as well. Like
You know everybody, been going there for years.
yeah,
The
yeah,
regular to a college bar. They just I don't know. It just sounds nasty.
yeah. Especially at like 30. Like bro, you're 30 years old,
Yuck.
and like some people in here with fake IDs. So like, what are you in here for? Um, but you know what? I can't knock his hustle because that's maybe what he's comfortable with. What he's I don't know. I kind of can. Go
You
ahead though.
definitely know.
I feel like I know who you're talking about, but we're not gonna say any names here. We're gonna be safe today.
But I feel like you just said a key word though when you both were talking about comfortability. It's like, yeah, but isn't that how you grow is by being uncomfortable?
mm Yes, yes.
You
Wise
know.
words. Wise words. That's true. I guess coming back to the main point of like routines and sporadic ability or whatever. Um,
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity. Yes. Is that easy for y'all though? Like, so routines. It sounds like it's pretty easy for you, Jermaine and Rod. But
It
like,
sounds like productivity is not like a big deal in that. It sounds like it's more work life balance people want to get to. Like people want to still be sporadic, but they also want to have their routine. It's like there's a mix between the two.
but yeah, and that's my main point about it is like 40 hours a week. Like, let's be for real. Like, working 40 hours a week is it that bad though? For real, like I feel like it's terrible, and then I'd be like, damn, like this is a long time to be spending like every week doing this shit. But like, is it just like millennial complaining that I'm doing, or is it really just that taxing on us? I don't know.
I don't I think it's not just the 40 hours, but it's the time of day. Like the fact that your most productive hours are spent working is to me like the crazy part. And not just like the 40 hours, but it's really more than 40 hours because let's say if you work 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, you gotta commute more than likely. So, you gotta give yourself time to commute. You gotta give yourself time to get up, shower, eat breakfast, dress. you come home, you make dinner, you maybe go to the gym. Like most of your hours are still kind of wrapped up in work related activities. You might only have an hour or two of like real relaxation time or like fun time in a day, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
You think the majority of people around our age have a kid? I don't know a stat on that. Like at
Mm,
least one.
that's a good question. I don't know the stats on that either. It's hard to say.
I feel like 50-50, or if anything,
Yeah.
less people have kids. Nah, not say about 50-50. But then that adds a whole nother dynamic though, because it's like, damn, I have to go get the kids from daycare. And when I come home, I don't have time for myself. I have to take care of these kids. So like,
Hmm.
mm. I wouldn't wish that
But
on my worst enemy. Go ahead though.
what do you guys think about the idea that some companies are trying to move to a 4-day work week?
Well, I already work 4 days, so I like it. I do like it. And I think what I like about it is I do have one extra day, like a whole extra day, where I could do whatever the fuck I want to, like just some me time, just chill or whatever. What I don't like is 10-hour days are long. I have an hour
Yeah.
lunch, so it's like it's an 11-hour day.
Oof.
So really,
So you're
actually,
really gone from the house for like 12 hours.
literally 12 hours, and it's like sun up to sundown for real. Like especially in the wintertime, like you don't see the sun when you leave. I don't see the sun when I leave work. You know what I mean? So there's pros and cons, but I do think that just to get that extra day for your family, for your personal things, like that's fire.
Hmm. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if more companies start trying to embrace the 4-day work week.
I feel like I don't want that though because Fridays be so like smooth because everybody be at work already. Like I want to have my company be the only one to do it because one of the best things about Fridays is like ain't nobody outside, ain't nobody on the road.
True.
Like it's a great feeling. But I guess let me not be selfish. Like obviously it'll be great for everybody, but like, nah, like stay all that like when COVID times, like when everybody was in the crib, like that's how I feel on
Beautiful.
Fridays.
Beautiful. It's funny you say that. I was thinking about it recently. It hit me a couple weeks ago. I'm like, man, I miss when everybody was stuck in the house because I am sick of people. Like even like the 2021 times
Hmm.
when like it was kind of safe to go back outside, but people weren't outside. I don't know if you noticed, but like traffic is picked up everywhere. It takes forever to get anywhere now. I'm like, damn, go back in the house, y'all.
And it's like the thing about where we live at, there's no public transit. So like if we're talking about traffic
Mhm.
specifically, everybody has a car, especially if you live in the suburbs, like that suburban sprawl. It's just like you have to drive everywhere. You don't got no grocery store walking distance. No kind of stores walking distance. So it's like it gets annoying. Um yeah, that sucks. Yeah, everybody go back inside. That's the moral of the story. Take your last back inside. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this last topic. I think we're gonna get into this one and close it out. So man, we've heard a lot of stories about these two people, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, over the last couple of years, and most of the times I've been on their side where it's like, damn, like they really hating on them. The royal family hates them for some reason. Woo 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 woo. But this strange story kind of came out recently where it kind of raised some eyebrows, mine included. So they said that they were in a 2 hour chase. They were in New York City, and they said that they were in a 2 hour chase, and they were in a taxi cab, and it had all these different types of implications. They felt scared and woo 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 woo. I just kind of felt it was strange that they were in a taxi for 2 hours, being chased by who we don't know. But yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like, is this like what is going on here? Is this a bigger thing to cover something else up, or how do y'all feel about
Well, I'm
them?
gonna add some news that more recently came out.
Oh, sure.
Someone spoke to the driver that was driving around Harry and old girl,
Mm.
and pretty much what the driver was said, they was over exaggerating a little bit. They did run into some fans that happened to see them through the taxi, and they were taking pictures and trying to videotape them, of course, along the road. But he said he took them back to the hotel to get away. But he said, yeah, that was it.
Wow.
He said a bunch of fans and everything was taking pictures and stuff, and he just took them back to the hotel. So the whole chase thing for 2 hours was just kind of weird. He was just like, yeah, they over exaggerated a little bit. There wasn't, I don't know about a
That's
chase, but there were some
wild.
fans with their camera out.
Did
No.
you say how long it was?
He didn't really say a time, but he was like, yeah, it was over exaggeration.
Wow. Well, I did also see too that Whoopi Goldberg, she came out and she was like, that's a lie. She was like, there's no such thing as a 2-hour chase in New York City.
2 hours in New York?
But
Like,
also,
where are they going? Like, they must be going to every borough.
For real.
Like in 2 hours? Like,
what the fuck?
what are you talking about?
also, like, when I first read the story, like, most people, I was like, wow, I'm like, first of all, 2 hours is a long time. But I was like, okay, I feel kind of bad. And then I started looking up, more about the situation. And I saw a video of them and they were, in a taxi. And I was like, wait a minute. You took a taxi? Like, you're a prince. Y'all didn't have a black car. You didn't have a police escort. Like, I can see why people would take pictures because you were in a taxi.
Yeah, seeming real normal.
Yeah. But maybe they feel like it'll be more incognito, like they was hiding in plain sight if they took a taxi, I guess.
But like you can see through the window, like get a Uber black with some tinted windows or something. Like if people can see you, isn't the natural inclination to take pictures?
Yeah, they should have hired a driver, not a taxi.
Yeah.
1000%. But I think it's really crazy that people really saw them. Like, who really just looking in taxi windows just randomly and be like, "Oh my God, there's Prince Harry." Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's all crazy. I don't know. This has to be like, this is shaping up to be one of the craziest lies of all time. Because the exact words initially were like, oh, this is a near catastrophic chase. To go from that to being like, yo, some fans took pictures, maybe some paparazzi. That's a big difference.
So why did they tell this lie? Does anybody know what was the point in lying about this? Like, why did they? Because we didn't even know about this.
No, we would have never
We would
known.
have never known. Like, what is the point in putting things out there that we would have never known, and then now we know, but now it's a lie?
Yeah, they could have just went home.
They could have just went home.
Well, they just had a good day in NYC. Being a prince, being a princess, like that's it. Like that could have been the story. Like they visited New York City, showed love.
And
I don't get why the car chase in NYC was so like why they had to put that out there.
they were in New York because I think like she won an award, like one of them won an award or something. So it was like, why can't the headline just be like, oh, y'all won an award? Like, why'd you have to add in, this to the story?
I'm speechless almost because it's just like I'm just sitting here in my brain just trying to figure out like what was the point of this? Like, were they trying to avoid something? Like, is it a cover up for something else? Like maybe they ran somebody over and they was like, oh nah, we was really getting chased though. Like, you know what I mean? Trying to cover up some tracks.
It makes me think of the Soldier Boy story. Like some shooters came to my house.
Oh,
I did a flip, grabbed my Draco, start shooting at the door. Pop, 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 pop. Like it just like it makes no sense. You just trying to hype up the story. It's like what? What are you talking about?
I mean, yeah. Is that the biggest lie though? I was gonna say like that Jussie Smollett shit. That shit was that was egregious too.
Yeah. I was gonna say this was like top two like stupidest celebrity lies of all time, but I forgot Jussie Smollett. That will always be number one. I think Soldier Boy is firmly at number two though.
We really think Soldier Boy
Well, he
was
was beat
lying?
down by 2 subway workers.
Who Jussie?
Yeah, that's what he said. He was beat down by 2. Wasn't it 2 subway workers or something?
And
2 African subway workers.
No, he was supposed to be going to get Subway at like 2 a.m. when some Trump supporters came and were like, "Oh, yo, that's that gay nigga from what was he on?
Power.
Empire."
Empire. Yeah.
And they threw bleach
Hey,
on
Juicy
him.
Smollett, get over here.
They threw bleach on him and supposedly threw a noose on him. And like, I can't believe that anybody believed that story for longer than like 15 minutes. Because it's like, first of all, what Subway is open at 2 a.m.? Like,
Where they get a noose?
I'm about to say, who carrying nooses and bleach?
in Chicago. in public.
And Africans at that. What African is carrying a noose?
And
Like, it's just
they don't even
like,
know
what are
what
you
nooses
talking about?
is. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and it was like -10 degrees that night. Like, who just
Yeah,
outside just
with
was lurking,
bleach.
lurking for Jussie Smollett?
And
Like,
also, like, he's not even famous like that. Like, who would know him for real when you see him out and be like, "Oh yeah, that's Jesse Smollett. That's that dude from Power." No white supremacists know who he is.
so
They don't watch Empire. Let me tell you that.
you know, yeah, I don't know. That shit was egregious. Like you said, like people that believe that shit for more than 15 minutes is like, all right, you just trying to. I don't even know what it is. Sometimes you could just hear a story and just know it's bullshit. Like this one, it didn't really occur to me all the time. Like at the time, like, oh, 2 hours chasing New York City. That don't sound likely. But this Jesse, like, come on, man, come on,
Yeah.
Jesse.
But I mean, back to the story though,
Yeah.
with Prince Harry and Princess. It just sounded like a story they would tell their friends or something, like celebrity friends, Hollywood, and try to exaggerate the story. I don't know. The wrong person maybe just heard it and put it out or something like that, or did they put it out themselves? I
I
don't really
think their
know.
publicist, as far as I know, their publicist put out the story. Like that's the part that's crazy is nobody else would have been talking about this if they did not proactively put it out.
See, and that's what I was saying. Like it's a cover up. It's something is there. Like there's a reason why they told this story. Because if they publicly put it out, then they wanted this out.
Yeah. I think you said the key thing earlier, Matt, which is like I used to rock with them. I really did. Um, of course, like who wouldn't want a, black princess? But the more stories that have come out about them, the more they get me where I'm like, all right, y'all, like some of this is I get you might have some family tension with the royal family, but some of the things that they've been saying have been taking it a little bit extreme to me. And so I kind of feel like for this particular story, it almost makes me think like I don't know, like they want to build more sympathy for them. Like they
Hmm.
want people to be like, "Oh my goodness, it's so hard for them. They've been kicked out of the royal family and they've been ostracized and now they can't even visit New York in peace." I think they just want us to feel sorry for them, to be honest.
If the publicist made this story, they need to fire her. Like, come on now. Like, this was the worst story from a publicist if they came up with this.
But I feel like they told her to say that though. So why you firing her? Like they did what she did what they wanted her to do. You know what I mean?
Anybody with a brain could have realized like that's just not a good lie. They should have said 30 minutes maybe.
Yeah, 2 hours. It's just too easy to disprove that in New York City, where you got cameras everywhere, you got paparazzi, like they got traffic cams all over the place. Like you could very easily see like it was not catastrophic, and
Pedestrians
yeah.
everywhere.
There's only 12 cars in New York City in the first place. So it's like, bruh, like who's chasing you? Like who was in the car chasing? Like, come on, man.
Millions of people
Millions of
all
people
around
on the street.
with the prince
Walking.
and the princess just getting away.
Come on, man. Do better. Do better. Because
Yeah.
I still fuck with them, obviously. I'm gonna always fuck with them over the actual royal family. I don't know what they can do to tarnish that for me, but I'm still gonna root for them, I guess, even though they bold
We're
faced
rooting for
liars.
everybody black
Yeah, black
and
and
part black.
and ginger. Because I think that nigga Ginger,
Yep.
Harry. I was about to say Harry Styles. What's their last name? What's the royal family last name? I don't even know.
Do you know I had to look this
Harry
up?
Styles?
No, that's the
No.
that's the singer, nigga. You said you looked it up.
I had to look it up because I was so confused. Like, so they do have a last name. It's Mount Bottom.
Mount Bottom. What?
Hmm.
I gotta look this up. What?
Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Let me pull it up again. It's but it's like Mount Bottom, something like that.
Mountbatten, Windsor.
Something like yes. I think
Yeah,
you're saying it better than I'm saying it.
Mountbatten, Windsor, something like that. Okay.
Isn't it weird that even if you go on his like Wikipedia, like you can't even see what this man's last name is? Like, why is it such a secret?
Like Prince Charles of the second, like all that crazy shit. Like, come on, man. What we talking
Yeah,
about?
I'm not rooting for him. I don't know why you rooting for him.
Why not? I mean, he just seemed like, if anybody, like he just seemed like the most down to earth. Just from the little that I pay of the royal family, like little attention that I pay, like he seemed like the cool one.
Yeah.
I just don't know him. I'm not rooting for anybody I don't know.
That's real too. That's real. That's real. But let's go ahead and wrap this episode up. Let's get into these highlights for the week, man, or for the episode. What y'all got for us today, Rod, Jermayne? Anything I want to highlight?
I'm gonna highlight Post Malone just put out this new single. Man,
Mm,
this shit is hard.
it
It's
is.
called, what is it called? Mourning, and it's gonna be off his new project Austin. That's coming out in the end of July. July 28th is his release date. Seemed like he's rolling out a couple singles, and so far, these single Mourning and Chemical been good so far. So I'm expecting this to be a big hit. Probably win a lot of awards at the end of the year. I can see that happening. Um, yeah, so shout out to Post Malone on this single. It's dope.
So this week I'm gonna highlight a Colors performance that was just released a couple days ago by Saint Harris. He sang his single "Ego Talkin," and I mean the original is sick, but the color show version was extra, extra, extra crazy. And his whole project is definitely worth taking a listen to if you haven't heard it yet.
Okay, super dope, super dope. So let me go ahead and let's let me highlight NBA legend, big gun toting. Shout out to Gilbert Arenas, man. Gilbert Arenas is that guy to me, man. He just somebody with crazy basketball
Damn,
knowledge. Who you thought I was talking about? Somebody else?
I thought you were talking about Young Boy.
Oh, no, not like NBA, like the league. um, um, but yeah, shout out to Gilbert Arenas. He has a show on YouTube that he does. He has Brandon Jennings is on there sometimes, Miko Grimes, Rashad McCants, and they do like a sports show a couple of times a week. It's
Hmm.
called Gil's Arena, but it's just a lot of basketball knowledge in the building. Great place to just like get a great breakdown from like former NBA players, about like what's going on in the league. So shout out to Gil's Arena. So
Yeah, my take was terrible. I said the Lakers in 5.
I've been
Man, it's
telling
not
y'all,
looking good.
this is going to be a sweep. Get the brooms out immediately.
I
Um,
don't know about that.
I mean, they might win the next one, but we'll see about that. We'll see about that. But other than that, check out St. Harris, check out that Post Malone, check out that Gil's Arena, and let us know what y'all think.
Prince
Yes,
Harry.
y'all can leave Prince Harry wherever the fuck he at, back in the beans and toast land. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening, man. This has been the Friends Podcast, and we out. Peace out.
Cheerio.